Hello, good evening, good afternoon. Thank you so much to the African Seasoned Speakers Network for inviting me today. I'm also using the opportunity to broadcast to my network as well. And today I'll be talking about taking your talents global. So if you're online, if you're live, do say hello. We're broadcasting live to the African Seasoned Speakers Network on Facebook. And then I'm also using the opportunity to share this knowledge and information with the rest of my network. So special thanks to Makeza Mensa. Thank you for inviting me today. Like I said, today's topic is taking your talents global. I know several members are joining from Africa, so I know it's super late. It's like probably evening, maybe 8 p.m. in some places, 9, 10, 11, depending on what country you're joining us from. But my name is Toyin Umesiri. Yes, I see you joining. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Muhammad, thank you for joining. Asnal, thank you for joining. Ndeye, thank you for joining. Do drop the country you're joining us from because I know people are joining from all over the world. Again, thank you to Mackenzie for over at the African Seasoned Speakers Network for this invitation. So, I know she had asked me, Toyin, you usually talk about trade, why don't you come and talk to us about that? And I said, you know what? I really want something that can resonate with the members. And that's why I came up with, taking your talents global, because what's going on right now is the world is flat. Really. The world is flat. When you have talents or services of products, you actually have the power of the internet to allow the delivery of your talent to people around the world. But what we also see is that the technology is not the challenge, really, because the technology is in place, just like the technology I'm using right now to broadcast to people all over the world, right? So the technology is not the problem. We have sophisticated technology. We have things like Zoom, Microsoft Teams. All of those technologies are available for people who want to engage internationally. So wherever you are right now, whether you're here in the US or you're in African countries or wherever you are in the world, really the world should be flat to you, meaning you should consider whatever talents you have as applicable or it's a talent you can take internationally. Now, if the technology is not a challenge, then what is the challenge? Why are Africans, particularly because the audience that invited me to speak today, they are primarily Africans in Africa. So, what is the challenge, right? Um, I'm going to list a couple of those things right now. Number one, I always talk about network. If you want to go global or if you want to do cross-border transactions, you really have to make sure that you're part of a network that allows you to facilitate those conversations. Okay, what do I mean? The recipients of your products or talent or services, if they are not in your local country, you need to find ways to make sure you're visible to them, right? So that's where that networking comes about, where the network you're a part of, it's not just look around you. If everybody around you is in your country or on your continent, then how can you, those are the only people you can sell to, or those are the only people you can reach with your skills, with your talents. Those are the only people you can serve. So if you hope and wish to serve people beyond your region, beyond your state, beyond your city, beyond your country, you need to start plugging yourself in networks that allows that to happen. Okay. So that's one. Part of the gaps that I see in trying to take your talents international is you're not in rooms. You may not be in rooms where those types of conversations are happening enough that you can pitch. Thank you again to everyone joining. Oh, Mohammed is joining right here in Chicago. Derek right here in US. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Santa, thank you for joining. I really appreciate that. So, okay, so for those just joining today, I'm talking about taking your talents global at the invitation of the African Seasoned Speaker Network, right? The leadership reached out to me and asked if I would share with their members that are, speakers around around the world, primarily in Africa. So what I then said was, technology is not a challenge. We have technologies that allow us to reach people around the world. But the challenges that we see are, number one, I just talked about networking, right? What networks do you belong to? Do you belong to networks that are focused on international development or international trade, or regional trade under the AFCFTA, the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, which allows you to also expand beyond your country, right? So network is one. The second thing is soft skills in terms of communication, right? How you communicate. So again, we have technology. When you think about platforms like Facebook, like LinkedIn, like Twitter, like Instagram, right? Those platforms are being used by everybody all over the world, which means you can actually, there's nothing stopping you from engaging with people across the ocean on those platforms. But how you communicate with such people have to be refined, right? How you pitch. It's more of the making a connection in such a way that you understand what they need, right? And you're able to communicate what you can offer. Okay. So that's one of the gaps that we're seeing, is that even though the technology is available, even though those platforms are available that allows people to connect internationally, people are not being successful because of the way they communicate and the way they engage. Okay. So that's something to watch out for, to say, if you have a talent and you want to provide goods and services to people around the world, you have to really think through how you communicate with those people, because there are nuances in communication, right? In terms of expectation, how you present, how you pitch, who you are, what you do. The other thing is making sure that your brand, your, whether it's your personal brand or your company brand, is of international standard. Because when you reach out to people that are not in your city, the only way they can assess you is the packaging, if I can use that, the branding, or the information you've put out there about yourself. Because think about it, people in your city, easily they can see you face to face, they can assess you in that way, they can talk to their friends and get referrals about you before they engage with you or before they buy from you. It's easier to transact in your local region because people can see you, people can read you, people can assess you, people can ask questions about you. Now, when you want to engage with people that are not in your immediate city or state or country, the way you can really secure social proof, if I can use that phrase, is making sure that your branding, your presentation, the story you're telling, you know, and your digital footprint tells the same story that aligns with what you're pitching or what you're presenting. So, what do I mean? This is what usually happens when you make an introduction, whatever platform you're making an introduction on. First thing people do is they check your profile. What is this? Who is this person? They read your profile. They go online. They research you. They research your company. They're like, who is this person? Is this person real? Your digital footprint, all of a sudden, is your currency of trade, right? It's how people can verify who you are. It's how people can watch you. It's how people can also evaluate what you've done for other people and what you stand for. So, in taking your talents again global, you have to become aware and make sure you're managing your digital footprint, right? What trail are you putting out there? Because in the world of international trade, people are not in your city. They, even if you're the best in your city, even if you're the best in your country, and you want to then go global, the only way people can really assess your background is to just search you online, right? It's people really may not really understand how important this is. The world has changed, where no matter how fancy your building is, or your facility in your region, if you're not telling that story, if your digital footprint does not reflect your capacity and your capability and your talent, then you cannot attract any serious player. They wouldn't engage with you, no matter how fantastic you are in your region today. So it becomes important to making sure that you put your stake online, you carve your own, it's like do your own land, create your own space, make sure you have your own digital billboards, that announces to the world, this is who I am, right? you know this is who I am, this is what I can do, this is what I've done before. Happy to work with you, right? That's what people are looking for, because again, those individuals, they need that verification point to be able to assess you, and making sure that your message is crystal clear. Like, don't not rambling around and round and round. You lose people that way, right? People usually have like short attention span, so being able to grab them, being able to say, this is what I do, this is what I've done before, this is what I hope to be able to offer you as well. And I think being able to really understand where the world is going and what those people are looking for, meaning your customer or your potential client, like on the other side of the world. What is their world like? Like, this is the time when people now need to start researching. Like, you cannot just engage internationally based on what you know or what you read in your local newspaper, right? Like, um, you now have to start saying, okay, if I want to engage with Europe or Canada or wherever else, right? All of a sudden, you need to start prioritizing, making sure that you stay connected with the news, what's happening there. That way you can start understanding the way the people think. And when you do engage, you show that you connect. Those are ways to connect with them. So for example, if you're trying to connect with people in the US, you need to be aware of what's happening with the temperature, with Texas. So if you engage, be like, oh, do you live in Texas? How are things? Hope the weather is okay. Hope you're good, right? Just being able to connect heart to heart as humans with those people, it really does come from your own research, to say, okay, this is a potential market I want to deliver my talents to. Okay, let me see. We have more people that have joined us. Okay, Mackenzie, thank you again. So she's listening. She said networking, absolutely. Communication, yes. Fatal, but thank you. You said you're joining from Gambia. Oh, I appreciate that. Mackenzie also shared, yes, branding, absolutely. And Professor Joseph Mbella is joining us as well. Thank you. I really appreciate that. People need to go check out his book as well. Every time I see you, Professor Joseph, I always talk about your book. He's written a great book about Africans and Americans embracing cultural differences. So that's a fantastic book you all need to go check out. Awesome. Santa, thank you for joining as well. Communication is, yes, joy. Okay, thank you. I really want this to be as interactive as possible. So if you do have questions for me, please do join it, because I'm going to speak for a little while, and then I'll really want to answer any questions you have. Georgina, thank you for joining. She's joining us from Netherlands, and she's a member of our network. Thank you so much. It's been a while. Thank you for joining. I see Mercury Korea. That sounds like a Ghanaian name. Are you joining us from Ghana, or you're here? Daniel Komla, Ghana is the house. Ghana in the house. Okay. Okay. Well, jollof rice. Is it Ghanaian jollof or Nigerian jollof? I know fufu is going really global now on TikTok. Like African fufu, West African fufu particularly. So that's something to watch. So yes, as I was saying, just staying really, really connected, to the market or the region you want to engage with. The other thing I want to talk about is your service delivery. What value do you want to bring? A lot of times, people come and reach out to me and say, Toyin, I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. I'm like, okay, keep listing. Then the question is, but what are you going to offer? Because trade or commerce is about value exchange. People don't just give you what you want just because you want it. What usually happens is you design a value, you bring that value to the marketplace, and then you say what you want it to command, right? So be it in agriculture value chain or even as a speaker, you always have to do something to earn something. So that's one of the mindset shifts I've been engaging and getting my community members, the Trade with Africa Network, to see. Prioritize value creation, to say this is what I want, I can do for people, right? Instead of coming to me and say I want A, B, C, D, you can also say these are my expertise. This is the product I have. This is the value I've created in the marketplace. Who can I sell it to? Who can I market it to? What's the best approach to present myself in order to command return, right? Value in exchange. That's the key. Value creation. Okay, value creation. So, as you know, for the African Seasoned Speaker Network, think of your skill set as a value and make sure you're able to spell what that value is for the people you hope to serve, right? That's the key. The moment you can understand how your talent or how your resources or how your products connects with your potential clients and you're able to tell that story, at that point is when you can then say, okay, this is what I want in return, like pay me this, right? Right. So those are some of the things I also teach in my business development, programs, because a lot of times people need to understand that it's about value creation and value exchange. Okay, you bring value and then you get value in return. The value you get back could be cash or in kind or exposure. So maybe I'm going to really switch a little bit to another area where I see a lot of speakers struggle. Sometimes speakers would say, "Hey, pay me, pay me, pay me," right? But they're not really thinking about value exchange, assessing the people that are inviting you to speak and saying, could there be a value exchange and providing some type of wiggle room in that transaction. So not all transactions have to be monetary, really. Those are some of the things you have to think about as well. The other thing I will talk about is partnerships. I've written about the power of partnerships and the secrets of designing the right partnerships. In fact, I've also seen that you cannot have the right partner if you don't have the right network. Okay. People talk about partnership, and I know this is something big with the African, because I've seen your members as well talk about partnerships. But I think the value I want to just bring around that conversation of partnerships is making sure that you give more than you take. Okay. When you're structuring partnerships, because as you're going international, you're going to be engaging with other people, you're going to be doing business with other people, you're going to be providing services for other people. Realize that the people on the other side of the transaction, they also have to derive value from those partnerships, right? And mistakes that people make often is they also focus only on what they want from that partnership, not thinking about what the other person would gain as well. Okay. So knowing that you want to give value, okay, you really have to give value for partnerships to be successful, but you also want to get value, but making sure that you give more than you take. Because if the other person on the other side feels short, meaning they feel they gave you more than you gave them, then that's a partnership that would not last. Because the next time you reach out to them, they're not going to be so quick to join or engage with you again. So, my own personal philosophy is give more than you take. Be generous. When you give more than you take, guess what? It's really, really a fascinating thing that happens. They want to work with you again. Like they become loyal to you because they know they got value from you, right? And that's one of the secrets of the part of the way we've been successful is that we are more generous than an average um company. We establish strategic partnerships. We engage with people at a level where we actually give them more value than we take. And because of that, we have sustained partnership because they're like, oh, we want to work with you again. And our partners, we can reach out to them anytime. They never feel like, oh, those people, they want to use us, right? So that's something to work on seriously. Okay. So do we have any questions? Um, yes, partner, right network, very necessary. Absolutely. So I think the reason I just wanted to share this topic is just to encourage everyone to say you can take your talents global. You should consider to take it global, but we have the technology in place. We have platforms in place. You're right now on platforms that allows you to reach people around the world. Excuse me, but the network, the communications, your branding, your messaging, your digital footprint, your personal branding, the way you partner, all of those things is actually what's going to determine if you're able to tap into the opportunities that abound right now and will continue to grow over time. And that's where, one of the things I say is that Africa is the future, right? So Africans, Africans, this is the time, for you to leverage the opportunities being created, because you think about the leadership of the African Union with the AFCFTA. Make sure you follow that conversation. The African Continental Free Trade Agreement, that's a game changer for the region, not just the region, but how the rest of the world also engages with Africa. And one of the things I try to say, maybe in wrapping up, is whenever people talk about Africa, it's easier for people to talk about Africa, but they don't talk about Africans. Okay, when you think about the textbooks or the policies, it's like Africa, 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 but they don't talk about Africans. But you cannot talk about America without talking about Americans. So this is the time when the dialogue around Africa needs to be led by Africans, and Africans need to show up more. You need to tell your own story more. You need to let people see your skills and your talents more. You need to show up. That's the key. You need to show up to platforms. You need to tell your own story, because right now, when people tell your story, you're not there. Non Africans tell their story of Africans. So I think that's just something to watch out for, is that it's so easy out there for people to say Africa. Africa is a geographic location, but you cannot do business with Africa without doing business with Africans. So it becomes so important to start understanding Africans as well, and for Africans to also engage with the rest of the world. So um, that's where I would stop for today and see if there's any questions. To learn a little about me, my personal website is toyinumesiri.com. There are several initiatives that I lead, that I run. So I feel free to check it out. And if you have any questions, happy to engage and answer those questions. So, Mercury, yeah, you confirmed Ghana, Ghana. Yes, yeah. Because I engage with people around, I now tend to look at names. With African names, when you look at the names, you can, you know, assess and guess. You're not always right. I'm not always right, right? And you can also tell. So, Mackenzie, you said Ghana jollof. Come on, come on. I'm representing Nigeria here. Come on, Nigerian jollof. That's so funny. I don't think it's the Ghana Nigerian jollof. I don't think that's ever ending. It's just been fun. Um, Algeria is also in the house. Tita, thank you so much. Mercury, absolutely. I really appreciate that. So use the opportunity. Do you have any questions for me? Use this opportunity now, because you know I just wanted to kind of engage, talk. Mackenzie, is there anything else you would like me to share with your network? Oh, Fatua is saying Gambia Jollof. Let me bring that on. Gambia Jollof. You want to be part of the rivalry. Gambia. Okay. Okay. I see. Everybody wants to be a part of the cook off. I've never tasted Gambia jollof, but that would be nice. That would be nice. I think Africa is so fascinating. Today, I was actually listening to someone posted the music, and then I was listening to it, and I was like, the African beat. I was like, I was feeling the beat, and the thought that came to me, because I write, I was like, You can take me out of Africa, but you cannot take Africa from me. It almost sounds like a rap beat, like dun dun dun. You can take me out of Africa, but you can take Africa from me. And the African beat was like, I was like, oh my goodness, like the beat and everything. I love Africa. I love our sound, our food, spice, all of that. I think it's time for us to show the world who we truly are, tell our own story, and bring our talents to the world. So on that note, that's it. Okay, a question just dropped in. Okay, let's bring that on. Santa said, are there some kinds of group or work group to practice speaking or pitching? Okay, I'll tell you what I'm doing, the platforms we've built, and then we'll see if those connect with what you need. So, so a couple of years ago, when I left corporate and I started leading this conversation around trade with Africa, what I found was that everybody individually, all over the place, like I'll go to this person and say, oh, trade with Africa. They'll be like, yes, yes, we agree. I'll go to this person, they'll say, they'll be like, yes, 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 we agree. But what then happened was those stakeholders, the various stakeholders, policy leaders, business, exporters, service providers, trade experts, they weren't in the same room. Everybody wants the same thing. Everybody wants to buy, everybody wants to sell, everybody wants to engage. That's a given. But I realized that in order for you to do that, you need to be in the same room. Just think about a local African market. If you're not in the market, you cannot buy, you cannot sell. You can talk about the market, you can think about the market, but until you're in the market, you cannot buy and you cannot sell. So there's a virtual market happening every single day. People are buying, people are selling, but those markets are powered by platforms. So we have actually built multiple platforms to support Trade with Africa. We've built events like Trade with Africa's Business Summit. We also have the Trade with Africa Network. And the reason we put those platforms up is because we know that people can talk, you can talk about trade all you want. You can talk about the international market all you want. And you can talk about AFCFTA all you want. But if you're not in the network, if you're not in the room, whether virtual room or physical room, you're not part of it. That's it. So we at Nazaru, which is the company I built, and I know Mackenzie was asking me to actually talk about this, but I was like, no, let me not talk about. But I'm glad this question is making me talk about it a little bit. So that's why the platforms we've built now allows people to immediately, when they join out those platforms or attend those events, immediately you connect with people that naturally you cannot connect with, right? So government officials, right? Good luck trying to meet those people, right? So we've now pulled those people in, and then when more members come in, you're immediately able to access trade experts, investors, exporters, government, different conversations then happen. It's by design. It's knowing that even in the context of a physical market, a physical African market, you can tell your brother, oh, I'm going to the market. The reason you have to go to the market is because that's where transactions happen. So, depending on, now, let me dive deeper into your question, Santa. Depending on the topic you speak on. Okay, so I've told you what we do when it comes to international trade, but I'm assuming when you just say you want to practice speaking, you also have to create a niche. Like what I talked about your branding. What's how would you describe your speaking? So for example, my speaking profile, because they do invite me to speak, so I have a speaking cheat sheet that I send to people, like when they say, oh, Toyin, can you come and speak, like if it's a professional corporate speaking gig, we have it defined, and I spell out, I speak on these topics. These are the topics I speak about: women empowerment, international trade, retail, international business development. That's where I play, right? Now, having said that, for me personally, There's another platform, for those who follow me on the 360 Woman. I actually have a faith-based platform called the 360 Woman. That is a place I created to speak to Christian women, professional Christian women, in order to like live with clarity, live with passion, like do your thing, right? you know. So that's so for you. I'll just the question I have now would be, which area are you focused on? Because you can't just say, okay, I want to speak to the world. It's part of personal branding. You have to decide which area, which field, which space do you want to play in. And when you map that out, it would allow you to say, okay, where are those conversations happening? Be it in media, you know, Facebook is a great place. You can search LinkedIn groups, but in order to search for it, you need to start first with, what are you interested in? What topics are you interested in to speak about or engage with? So that's what would decide where. Okay. But those groups, they are bound, they are all over the place, but it starts with you deciding on where. The other thing is, one thing I say about entrepreneurship is entrepreneurs, they're like, the difference between being in corporate and being an entrepreneur is, I usually use this analogy of like, they're like, domesticated lion versus lions in the wild. Like if you're in corporate, you're like being fed breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You don't have to go fend for yourself. But as an entrepreneur, for me now, you have to go out there, and lions roam in packs. Meaning, don't be alone. Don't be alone. If you're an entrepreneur out there, don't be alone, because your success is determined really by the network, the power of your network. And that's why we build networks for others as well. And again, if you want to ask, if you have more questions on that, please do reach out. So I hope that helped. Let's see. Okay, there's another question. Makeza says, how do you retain your global talent? The way I see it is as, you have to reverse engineer what are you doing locally right now? You have to win locally. And that's what you're trying to take international, right? Is, what are you good at? Right? What are you good at? Now, the other thing is, you also have to map what you're good at with what the world wants, right? So that's where research and market insights and market understanding comes in, because I see this a lot, that we Africans were so we are so we are so content. We're really, that's what the beauty of who we are. We're very content. We're not really pushy, but but this is where the global market requires us to be aggressive more. And when you use the word aggressive, people don't really, sometimes some people see it as negative. I actually see it as a positive, because boy, if you're out there in international markets, it's really a very competitive space to win, right? You're competing with the rest of the world. So in order for you to win internationally, you have to make sure that you keep refining. So it's not just retaining, because think about it. Whatever you learned 2, 3 years ago, in today's world with COVID impact, right? The world has shifted. So your technology skills becomes very important. So you have to refine. I wouldn't say, there are some things you might retain, which is more softer skills, but we always have to refine. We always have to refine. So I'll give you an example. The last 2 weeks, for those who follow me, they would have seen me announcing this. The last 2 weeks, I've been in a training. I've been in a training with the Women's Business Development Center here in Chicago. 2 hours. I mean, very intense. Like, I had to carve out time to do it. And yesterday was the graduation, right? So even for me, you have to continue to develop yourself. And the reason I signed up for that training was, okay, Toyin, you're doing all these great things. Yes, you're connecting. Yes. Are you missing anything? Is there any new knowledge or new information out there about entrepreneurship and all of those things that you could tap into? So that's why I signed up. And it was great to connect with other business women, to connect with instructors. This is funded by the US government and other people from SBDC. So, we talked about cybersecurity, everything. I was like, oh, okay, I'm good to go now. So personal development is something that is constant and continuous, right? I read books. I mean, I have a bunch of those here. So your talents, taking your talent global, you need to continue to refine and make sure that it's current. When I say current, it means current to the times we're in, right? So what you used to do before COVID, you always need to check and say, oh, is this still valid? Is this still valid? Is this still valid? Right? Always staying on our toes and always assessing. And the way you also stay current is again your network. If you're a part of a network that is always moving and always moving forward, then you're going to sharpen each other versus just standing still. I see a lot of that happening, particularly in Africa, like standing still and saying, okay, I'm waiting. Something will change. No, you have to change. When you change, things will change. Okay. Um, any other questions? Trina says, love partnerships. Absolutely. Give more than you take. Be generous. Serve people. Serve people. Give more than you take. Iron sharpens iron. Absolutely. But if you find that you could be the dull iron, meaning you're the one that needs sharpening, or you could be the one sharpening other people. Okay, let me also share this. There's so many because I'm constantly engaging. What you just said also brings me to something I share in my coaching, is that when you're building your network, think about three groups of people. Okay. You said iron sharpens iron, Trina. I agree. But think about three groups of people. Number one, a group of people that you are mentoring, you're pouring into them. They're all, no matter what you know or you think you don't know, there are always people that know less than you. So a group of people that you are personally investing in the next generation, right? That's one group. Think about a group of your peers, your peer group, okay? People that think like you. This is not an age, okay? A lot of times people say people think peer group is age. No. Peer group is mindset, okay? People that think like you, that move like you, that are going where you're going. Okay, because a lot of times people make a mistake and they sit in places they should not be in because I've known them for 10, 15, whatever, because I've known, right? You can engage. I'm talking about your professional development now. I'm not talking about your friendships or your again, just like I shared before, I have 360 women. I go there for different things, for spiritual support, emotional inspiration, and all of that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about professional advancement, right? Whether you're a business owner or you're in the professional space working for a company. That's what I'm talking about right now. Is one, a group you're investing in, whether the next person that just started in your company that you need to help them develop up. The next group would be your peer group from a mindset standpoint, from a creativity standpoint, because that's where iron sharpens iron. Okay. You might be in a place where everybody's like, oh, what's for breakfast? Oh, I don't know. Like nothing is happening, right? Maybe that's your entertainment group where like those are the people you on Friday night you're like dancing with. That's fine. You need that as well, you need to be balanced, right? But I'm talking about professional advancement. You need that peer group that thinks like you, that will sharpen you, that would inspire you, that would help you assess where you are at and make sure that group is upwardly mobile, right? And that group is moving. When I say moving, it means that they're going somewhere, right? Like ask yourself, is this group going somewhere? And sometimes people don't like those types of questions. I've been in, a lot of WhatsApp groups, people in Africa know the power of WhatsApp groups. I've been in a lot of those where it's like, what is this group about? Why am I here? Where is this group going? And people are like, no, chill out, relax. We're going nowhere. We're just having fun. I'm like, okay, check. That's for fun. That's the fun group. So that's, but again, professional advancement, make sure you have that second group, peers. The third group, usually smaller, is more of your mentors. One, two, three, four, five people that are already where you're hoping to get to, right? They are operating at a higher level than you, and you're aspiring to become who they are. right? So I have many of those. Like I have um, presidential advisors that I run to, because when I'm talking about international trade, it has to be relevant to investors, to policy leaders, to policymakers, because for our events, we have like ambassadors coming, ministers, government officials on our network, we're engaging with them. So I have this group of, should I say, board of advisors, where I'm like, how do you guys think at the investor level? Like, how do you process this thing? And they will tell me, Toyin, we want this, we want that, we want that. I'm like, okay, I understand. What we're building is relevant to you, right? So those are the three groups you also need to think about, because you talked about Trina. I explained this because of what you said. For you said iron sharpens iron. But when you think about those three groups, the first group, you are the one sharpening and supporting people that need your support, right? The next generation, right? The next intern in your facility. You're investing in those people, right? When those people reach out to me to speak, to do this, I try to give some of my time to that. So for example, just saying yes to this. That this looks different from if a company is reaching out to me, I'll send them my bill, right? So there are times we do pro bono just to support the next set of people and help groom them to the next level. So do that, invest in that. You really, really reap a lot of reward in serving other people. Then sharpen. Where iron sharpens iron is your peer group. And then also you get sharpened when you invest in mentors that can support you and help you advance as well. Awesome. So that's it. Um, I think I've served my purpose. I hope. Miss Makezia, is my job here done? If there are any other questions, feel free to DM or reach out as well. On that note, I'm going to bid you farewell. I really do appreciate it. Again, feel free to check out my personal website, toyinumesiri.com, where you can learn more about me. But this has been an honor. I hope it will encourage you and inspire you to absolutely consider taking your talents global as well. Okay, bye.